Okay, go ahead. You tell me.
Okay, this story began back in November of 1950. The Marine Corps was about to go up to the Chosin Reservoir, which is the mountains in North Korea. We went up there with the 7th Regiment leading the way, with the 1st Regiment following and the 5th Marines, and got up to the top of the mountain. And the 1st Marines went over to a little village called Koto-ri, which was at the top of the mountain. The 7th Marines led the way, went on up to Hagaru, which is 9 miles further north, and entered the U.S. Army, the 31st Infantry Regiment, and they came up the hill and went over to the east side of the reservoir. And the 5th Marines had gone up ahead of them and set up on the east side of the reservoir. They then left and came around and followed the 7th up to another village at the north end of the reservoir called Udamni. The weather turned brutal. There were days when it was an average day, and the temperature would be maybe 25 below zero.
Oh my God, that cold.
When it started to get to nightfall or dampness or light snow, it could get to 45 below.
Oh my God.
For the record, a lieutenant by the name of Bill Paxton, who was a friend of mine, I asked him one day, he was with the 11th Marines, which is an artillery unit. I asked Bill, I says, what did you do during the Chosin Reservoir campaign? He said, I kept the weather and logged it in every 4 hours.
Wow.
Because with artillery, you have to know what the weather is, because that tells you how much gunpowder you have to put in the big cannons to push the shell. So he told me these figures, and I told him, I said, what was the coldest that you recorded? He says, the night before we withdrew from Koto-ri, it was 60 below zero.
Oh my God.
Now that's Fahrenheit. That's not wind chill factor. So we had that against him. There was 15,000 of us. There was 250 Royal Marine Commandos from Great Britain.
Wow.
And they set up with the 1st Marine Regiment. Then there was 3,500 Army personnel who set up on the east side of the reservoir. We were suddenly on the 27th of November, 10 o'clock at night, we were attacked by the Chinese. They had 120,000 Chinese around us. And that began the Chosin Reservoir operation. Of the Army, there was 3,500. And that night they got overrun by the Chinese. I would guesstimate that maybe 500 survived that.
Oh my God.
People have said, what happened to the other 3,000? they were killed. The Chinese had them in a convoy, and they were in the trucks, and the Chinese gave them an option of either staying in the trucks and getting shot as they got out, or stay in the trucks and we're going to set them on fire.
That's not a good choice.
No. So I think 3,000 of them died that night.
That's a shame.
I've talked to a couple guys I know that did survive by climbing out of the trucks after the Chinese had abandoned them, and they survived because they were underneath the bodies of the guys that fell. And there was about maybe 500 of them survived.
And please tell me your name and rank and how old you were at the time.
I was 20 years old.
Oh.
I was a corporal at the time. I had landed at Incheon, the invasion there. I spent 15 months in Korea.
Oh my God.
And lost some very dear friends, as everybody did. I was 20 years
Hey,
old.
check it out. We've got the silent auction.
Thank you very much for your service. I appreciate it. I appreciate you talking to me.
Let me tell you,
Okay.
when we were up at the top, we were running low on ammunition. So they put a call out for some supplies, but we needed ammunition, 60 millimeter mortars and 81 millimeter mortars. That's the ones you drop into a tube and they go out. So they sent it to an Air Force base in South Korea, and they forwarded the message on. And the Air Force fella said, we got to put a code name, so if the message gets intercepted by the Chinese, they won't know what we're talking about.
Right.
So we'll put the name Tootsie Roll on there. So the Marine says, we asked for Tootsie Rolls, and the guy says, yes. Okay. Well, the planes came over the next morning and dropped their cargo. There was boxcars, flying boxcars. And when the Marines went out to bring the parachutes in and so forth, they opened the cartons and there were candy. And the guy says, what the hell are we supposed to do with these? But it saved our lives because it was so cold up there.
Right. Oh.
Everything was frozen. We used to eat out of cans from World War II.
Right.
Sea rations. They were frozen.
Oh my God.
Your canteen, your water, frozen. There was no firewood or anything because there was snow all over the
Oh
place.
my God.
And so the guys were saying, hey, what are we going to eat? Couldn't light fires.
They'll know
At night,
where you're at. Too.
yeah, it gives you away your location. So, in hindsight, the Tootsie Rolls was something. They passed them around, and you took and put them in your pocket. Well, the body heat made them pliable,
Yes.
and you got sugar, gives you energy, and so everybody was eating Tootsie Rolls.
Oh.
And we ate those for about 4 or 5 days while we were trying to get down the hill. And we had them walk 87 miles down to the seaport to get evacuated like they did at Dunkirk
Yes.
in World War II.
Oh
That's
my-
the only way we got out
Yes.
of there.
Oh my God.
But we lost a lot, and those that survived were lucky. And I've been back to Tootsie Roll. I know the people there.
Goodness.
And I've talked to Mrs. Gordon, who's the CEO and president, and her husband, who's deceased now, was in World War II. So he knew
Right.
about the. service, you know. And great people, great people. She's got a wall that's dedicated to the Marines and Tootsie Roll at the Chosen Reservoir.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh,
And everywhere we go, and I told the gals here, if I had known what was going to
I
happen
would have
here,
brought Tootsie Rolls.
I would have called her
Yes.
and said, Mrs. Gordon, I need some Tootsie Rolls.
That's right.
And I'd have a crate on my front lawn tomorrow.
Absolutely.
They take that. That's serious. That's serious of an
What a wonderful
event for us.
Absolutely.
At every one of our meetings, I bring Tootsie Rolls and put them on the
That's
table.
wonderful.
And the guys and gals love it.
Thank you so
So
much.
that's the story of Tootsie Roll and
Thank
the
you.
Marines at Chosen.
Thank you very much for your
Yeah.
service
If you
and all
wanna
those
write,
men.
If you want to write Tootsie Roll,
I will.
those are the people.
I will definitely do that. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
I appreciate it.